What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and Anthem certainly has been an interesting tale. A tale of rushing a product out early, not meeting your customers' demands, and a tale of broken hearts in a lot of ways. You know, I do probably take a little too much joy in developers kind of failing with, Fallout 76 or with Anthem or with whatever next game that's going to do that. It's probably not compassionate enough of me to think about the players that were genuinely excited about these games and kind of got hosed by it, or the people that are actually still enjoying it. Like, there definitely is people that enjoyed Anthem, and there's absolutely people that are enjoying Fallout, or Fallout 76, even Fallout First purchasers enjoying the game. And maybe a year later, Fallout 76, after they do the content expansion, it might be worth checking out. But I don't think this is an acceptable standard for development, to take people's money and then finish the game a couple of years later. Before we get into the hilarity, just a quick word from this video's sponsor. You know what time it is. It's time to thank this video sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Hey, are you looking for something to do over Thanksgiving or over Christmas break? Raid Shadow Legends is an excellent option for you. Introducing Raid Shadow Legends. Raid is a turn-based RPG done right. I know, you've already heard about Raid everywhere, but there's a great reason for it. Raid is one of the top 3 ranked RPGs on the Google Play Store. The game is crazy popular. Almost 15 million downloads in the last 6 months. The best part about Raid Shadow Legends is it's entirely free to play, and some extra cool features in the game include new champions every month. Raid is adding more than 14 new champions every month, so there's always new strategies, new balance, and new warriors to play with. They also have progression rewards. Get tons of free champions, equipment, and other cool stuff just for learning to play. And when you complete your progression rewards, you can score this sweet Arbiter champion. The game is growing super fast, and check out this cool roadmap that they've published. They actually have huge plans for updates over the next 6 months. So what are you waiting for? Go to the video description, click on the special links. If you're a new player, you'll get 100,000 silver, 2 clan boss keys, and 10 mystery shards, and 1 free champion, the Executioner. All these charges will be waiting for you, and hurry up! This offer is only good for 30 days, so use the link in the pinned comment below or the description to get Raid Shadow Legends today. Now, there have been redemption arcs that have worked, and every game thinks it's gonna do what No Man's Sky did because, well, the only other option is to cut bait and leave. I think that's probably what Bioware should have done with Anthem, but news drops that Anthem will be relaunched as Anthem 2.0 because why? If anything, you should probably change the name. This is on the heels of just about every major Bioware employee that worked on Anthem bailing out. Now, I don't know if it's that they were asked to leave or that they had left on their own volition. You never really know that. But, just a few weeks ago, we had Anthem's dev leaves Bioware after 14 years, ignites more speculation of trouble to come. Anthem continues this reign of terror as a reviled title claims another victim from developer Bioware. Chad Robertson became the second lead following Ben Irving's departure earlier this year, both coming after Anthem flopped critically and commercially out of the gates. Though the troubled game still has waning support, Robertson's exit from Bioware might mean the game is in dire straits. Robertson served as a chief developer of live services, essentially making him the most important person involved with the title. I don't know about that, but I don't work in development. With several measures made in desperate attempt to salvage the game, such as making the game free for EA Access users, Robertson and his team was unable to make Anthem the franchise EA was hoping it would become. He tweeted, "This is my last week with Bioware. I've been with the company 14 years and I'm grateful for everything I've been a part of." Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, Anthem, the Austin Studio, and Bioware are in good hands. You can expect great things. In a classy tweet, Robertson was grateful for his 14 years of service and let all fans know that no ill will ahead of his departure. Reddit users are not as optimistic, poking light at the idea Bioware is in good hands. Reddit user New Contortionist said, I like how he says Bioware are in good hands. Their recent track record says otherwise. Bioware has been under fire for nearly half a decade after substandard entries in its key franchises. While Dragon Age has seen better days since the release of the awful sequel, Mass Effect is yet to recover from Andromeda. Anthem's shockwaves continue to be felt. If nothing else, Star Wars The Old Republic remains active and has a bright spot in an otherwise desolate landscape. Anthem isn't going to reinvent itself as a good game anytime soon, and the departures of the two game leads over the course of the last few months suggest that EA and Bioware are ready to wash their hands of it. Interesting, because then we have this report from Kotaku. Bioware plans a complete overhaul for Anthem. Recent silence of a couple of high-profile departures from Bioware have led fans and pundits to speculate the studio has abandoned the most recent game, Anthem. But the opposite is true. For the last few months, Bioware and parent company EA have been planning an overhaul of the online shooter. According to 3 people familiar with those plans, some call it Anthem 2.0 or Anthem Next. Many of us are still in flux. Many details are still in flux. There are no clear timelines. There never has been. The next project may yet. In fact, from what I've heard, the developers of Bioware haven't even decided about how it'll be distributed. They're still figuring out whether updates should be released all at once or over an extended period of time. Anthem could be overhauled through a series of updates a la No Man's Sky. It could get a game-changing expansion like Destiny's critically acclaimed Taken King. Most of Anthem's biggest systems, its mission structure, its loot, its world, will change drastically, but the developers have yet figured out exactly what it'll look like. They're even considering releasing Anthem Next as a brand new game. Are you kidding me? Although those who work on the project said it could take a lot of forms and it's unlikely they'll charge full price to Anthem players. Wow. That's crazy. You have to give the players that paid $60 or $80 or $200 for the special editions this for free. That's the only way you get to redeem the game. You can't go out there and say, well, we stole $60 from you before. Now give us 60 more. Trust us. It just works. Now, just because No Man's Sky did it, and there's been good examples of games being able to rebrand or revive themselves, but there's been almost no examples of games that were basically completely dead in the water coming back. Now, you could look at World of Warcraft's recent expansion, Shadowlands. Most people seem pretty excited about it. You can look at bad expansions for World of Warcraft. A lot of people didn't like BFA, and people come and go from that game. But you've got a game like Anthem who doesn't have, 15 years of history on it, and you've burned a lot of people. So releasing the game and charging money for it, I don't think that's going to play well. I suppose if you don't have Anthem or Origin Premier, then you could charge something for it, obviously. You don't want to make it free to play, but that's a small detail. What's going to matter is if the game's any good, and I don't have a lot of faith. One thing that's for sure, Bioware has not abandoned Anthem, despite recent breathless declarations that the game is dead. Well, the game is dead currently. It's not maybe the literal sense of it. And also, of course, Bioware and EA are going to say they didn't abandon the game. They still need to make money off the people that are still there. There are a few better ways to get views on YouTube than declaring Anthem to be dead. Really? Not right now. Schreier must not spend a lot of time on YouTube. I don't think that this video is going to go wild, and I haven't seen a lot of videos on Anthem in general, other than when developers left, which is newsworthy, and it's newsworthy because of Bioware, not because of Anthem. Right now, dozens, if not hundreds of developers at both Bioware's offices in Austin, Texas, and Edmonton, Alberta, Canada are quietly working on plans to overhaul the game. We spent a few months just tearing it down and figuring out what it needed to change fundamentally. A lot, said one person on the project, and we've been rebuilding for a few months since. A representative for EA declined to comment. Anthem, which launched in February, was a big change for Bioware, the studio that made its heavy role-playing game name on heavy role-playing games like Dragon Age and Mass Effect. So fans were surprised when they saw Bioware trying to take on the likes of Destiny with an online shooter. Thanks to a messy development process plagued with technical issues, vision struggles, and many other stresses, the game flopped. It was buggy, tedious, and lacked any long-term appeal, unlike its competitors. So, because of this, I am unsure that Bioware, maybe this just isn't their thing. Maybe Bioware, should stick to sports. Ironically, not really actual sports, but you get what I mean. Maybe this type of game just isn't for them. That's totally possible. In the coming months, Bioware would delay Anthem's endgame Cataclysm, and on September 17th, the developers said they were moving away from previously announced update plans in favor of long-term fixes. We hear your concerns of core issues with Anthem and are acting on it, wrote Bioware head of live services Chad Robertson, who's no longer with the company, by the way. Those systems require a more thorough review and reworking versus quick fixes. We've got teams working on that now, and early results are promising. A month and a half later, Robertson quit. Following in the footsteps of lead producer Ben Irving, who left in August, the optics of these departures, combined with EA's vague messaging about Anthem's future, have led to nonstop speculation. Bioware ditches Anthem for good, proclaimed YouTube news show Inside Gaming Daily. I think it's funny that he calls him that. If it were me, he'd call me a YouTube provocateur. Around the same time, Forbes journalist Paul Tassi, who does generally good work, in my opinion, wrote, I no longer really care about hearing about the future plans for Anthem. I simply cannot imagine they will be anything beyond the bare minimum of keeping the game alive on life support, if that. But the reality is that Bioware is still putting a lot of work into Anthem. Details on Anthem Next are hazy. But among other things, the game developers plan to overhaul the loot, the quest, the social aspects of the game, the difficulty, the progression system, and the world map. So that's literally everything. That's literally every part of that game. I don't know. As players of Anthem, maybe you'll let me know in the comment section down below. What was the biggest issue? Because I think that the technical issues are obviously unacceptable, but people get over it if you fix that reasonably. I think that the overall world, the story of the game wasn't that compelling. The interactions with NPCs in the game were just boring and uninteresting. So, I mean, it's essentially, is it that they're saying we just want to have an Iron Man game and we're stuck on that idea? I don't understand. Like, why not just make a new game? Because this is literally everything about the game. Why even call it Anthem? One person on the project said they're planning to change the game's entire structure. Right now, the entire world of Anthem is set in a single contiguous map. Separating the map into segments would allow developers to tweak and play around with those segments without worrying. That might create bugs and glitches across the world. We're also looking at breaking up the need to go back first after every mission. That's brutal. And said the person, and what a mission technically is. That was always a weird disconnect. We're trying to integrate the disparate parts of the game together. A second person on the project told me yesterday that we're still doing, quote, lots of testing things out and experimentation, but nothing is concrete. So what it sounds like to me is Bioware really has no idea what to do with this game, and they still don't. I think that they have, in fact, clearly given up on Anthem. You don't go to replace everything. You overhaul the loot, the quest, the social aspects, the difficulty, the progression, the world map. That's everything. What do you mean they haven't given up on Anthem? They absolutely have. They've given up completely on it. What is this? What kind of spin is this, Schreier? They have given up on Anthem in spirit. Just because they're keeping the name, it's not Anthem. Whatever they release won't be Anthem. It was developed by both of Bioware's offices, but the plan had always been for Bioware Edmonton to pass the baton to Bioware Austin once the game went live. That has been happening slowly, sources say, which is exciting to members of Austin team who think they can improve the game. Bioware, meanwhile, is still invested in role-playing games in addition to the much-anticipated Dragon Age 4, which Bioware teased last year. A new Mass Effect game is in very early development at Edmonton office under director Mike Gamble, a longtime Bioware producer. I'm not sure what the hype is for Dragon Age 4. We don't know much about it. And you get Polygon reporting on the report, and I'm reporting on the report that reported on the report. Bioware doubling down on Anthem might bring it back as Anthem 2.0. I don't think that you can say that the game isn't being given up on when you're talking about the level of changes that they're considering for the game. It no longer will be Anthem after this. However, I will tell you this. I will leave you with this. For the people that are still playing Anthem and enjoying it, I'm happy for you. Really, I hope you get the game that you want. For the people that never bought Anthem, I hope you get a game that you want. For the developers, I don't have much to say. You released a product early. You released a product incomplete, with broken loot, with boring missions. You released it early because you didn't have any idea what you were ever going to do with the game, as was laid out by Jason Schreier a few months ago. You released the game knowing it was a pile. You took everybody's money, and now a year later you're kind of like, man, maybe we should just start over from the ground up. Forget about all that money everybody gave me. Look, if they release it for free to existing Anthem customers, they've got a chance. If they think they're going to trot this thing out there as a $60 title called Anthem Next, prepare for the wrath. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.